Hi there. Today we're talking about percents greater than 100, topic 6-3. So we've talked about percents in topic 3, and topic 6 again is going to continue to talk about percents greater than 100 and less than 100. So today we have on our launch that during a heated origami making argument, you tell your surly friend that you always give 150% effort in folding paper animals. Your surly friend says that he doesn't even know what 150% looks like. Show a way to represent 150% with pictures or numbers. And is it really possible to give more than 100% effort? Please go ahead and try this one on your own. I better see an answer when I come around and check your notes tomorrow. Okay, so in my diagram, I'm showing 100% as a solid bar plus half of another bar to give me 150%, because 100% is equivalent to 1, 50% is equivalent to a half, so I'm just showing the same way that I would show 1 1/2. So then how I could give 150% effort, I said that if you were expected to complete 10 questions for homework and you did 15, you could say you did more than 100% of what was expected. So I could say that my effort was more than the effort of expected of everybody. So what we're going to be looking at next is estimating. And it says to estimate an amount that is greater than 100% of a whole, think about how the percent relates to 100%. 100% of a whole is the whole. Notice it says 100% of a whole. 200% is twice the whole, and 300% is 3 times the whole, and so on. So if you have 100% of your year 1 population, then you have exactly what they had in year 1. If you have 200% of your year 1 population, then you'll have double what you had, and so forth with a 300%. So for example number 1, they're asking us to complete each sentence using these tiles. This says less than 10, greater than 10 but less than 100, and greater than 100. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give us a little hint that the words of mean to multiply. When you see the words of, you always need to multiply. And every single one of these sentences, they have the word of. So I will be multiplying on every single one of these. And I'm going to be translating these sentences from the English language to a math sentence. So 200%, if we go back to the estimating, they said 200% is twice the whole. If I was to take 200% and change that back to a decimal, I would really do 200 divided by 100, which is equal to 2. So 200% is 2 times 1 is, well, I get 2. And so, is that number greater than 10, less than 100, less than 10, greater than 100? It is obviously less than 10. So they're asking you to estimate and then make your decision. So I'll do a couple more with you just to show you how to deal with anything that might be decimals and go from there. So I have 125% of 100. So again, 125% is equivalent to 125 divided by 100 as a fraction. So if I do 125 divided by 100, I get 1 and 25 hundredths. And 1 and 25 hundredths times 100, well, I know that 1 times 100 is going to give me 100, and then multiplying by a fraction of 100 is going to give me a little bit more. So I definitely know that this answer is going to be greater than 100. The next one would be 2 times 75. And 2 times 75 would definitely give me a number larger than 100. So you don't necessarily need to calculate it out. You can just estimate that you know that double 75 is more than 100. 400% is 4 times 26. I know that 4 times 25 is 100, so 4 times 26 will give me a number larger than 100, so I know that that's greater than 100. I'm just going to continue the remaining ones here. I'm going to say 1 and 25 hundredths times 25 is, well, I know that 1 times 25 is 25, and then 25 hundredths, 1/4 of 25 is going to be approximately 6, so I know that my answer is definitely going to be greater than 10, but it's not going to be greater than 100. The next one is 3 times 2, which gives me 6, which is less than 10. Then we have 1,000%, which is the same thing as 10, and 10 times 15 is going to give us 150, so that's greater than 100. And 700% is 7 times 5 to give us 35, which is greater than 10, but less than 100. So go ahead now and look at number 2 and make your decision. So if we just model what we were doing in the previous questions, I took 350% of 20, I rewrote it as a math expression, and got 3 5/10 times 20, which will give me approximately 70. You could also leave it as a percent and say that 350% is equivalent to 300% plus 50%. If I break these percents apart to easy percents that I know that 300% is the same thing as multiplying by 3. So I did 3 times 20. And then 50% is the same thing as multiplying by a half. So I'm doing a half times 20. 3 times 20 is going to give me 60. A half times 20 is going to give me 10. So 60 plus 10 would also give me 70, which is greater than 50, but less than 100. For number 3, it says that student A says that 200% of 1 is 2. And student B says that 200% of 1 is 200. So which student is correct? Go ahead and make your choice. I said that 200% means something is twice the whole. So student A is correct because 2 times 1 would equal 2. So our key concept here might look a little bit different than what we've been practicing previously. We had used the y equals mx before, where y was your part, m was your percent, and x was the whole. And you can continue to use that if you prefer. I'm just going to be modeling mine with this key concept. Remember that with your percent, you do always need to place that over 100. The word is attached to the part, and the word of is attached to the whole. So I'm saying here that instead of using the equation, I'm still using the equation, but it's set up as a proportion, with percent divided by 100 equal to part divided by whole, which is also the same thing as is and of. You remember is over of before. So when they say what is 130% of 800, what is means we're looking for the part, so I put my variable in the part in the numerator. 130%, I just write that over 100 because 130% is equivalent to 130 hundredths. And then the of 800 tells me to write it in the denominator. Then I cross multiply. I do 100 times n to give me 100n. I do 130 times 800 to give me 104,000. And then you divide both sides by 100 to get our final answer of 1,040. So for number 4, it says a study found that alligator population this year is 120% of last year's population. If last year's population was 60, how many alligators are there this year? So I know that last year's population is the original amount, and so the original amount is the whole. So if last year's population was 60, the original amount will go in the denominator for me. And so 120%, that represents the percent this year. So then in a proportion, since a proportion states that two ratios are equivalent to each other, if the percent this year on the left, on the right side directly across from that, that is now going to correlate to the amount this year. And if you look at your proportion, since 120 is larger than 100, our answer should be larger than 60. So we're going to cross multiply, and we'll do 100 times n, set it equal to 100 times 60, 120 times 60, excuse me, which is 7,200. Divide both sides by 100, and I will get 72 alligators. I solved for the n in my proportion, and so that is now telling me that it's 72 alligators. Again, if you wanted to use the y equals mx, you certainly could. You would use the y equals mx. You are looking for the part again. You would put 120 divided by 100, so you're still putting it over hundreds there, and then you'd be multiplying by 60 right here. And you'd go through and you would work the problem out, and you would mathematically be doing the same steps. Number 5 says that during harvest, a cranberry bog is flooded with water to a depth of 4,800% of its usual depth of a quarter inch. So how deep is the water during harvest flood? Looking at that, 4,800 sounds like it's going to be a huge amount here. I'm thinking that I'm going to be wading through feet and feet of water. So just let's figure out what it is. It says that a cranberry bog is flooded with water to a depth of 4,800 of its usual depth. So its usual depth definitely sounds like to me that that's the original amount. I'm going to convert the quarter inch to 25 hundredths. There's nothing saying I can't do that right now. And I'm going to set up my proportion. I'm going to put the 4,800% divided by 100. And that represents the percent that it's being flooded. So if that's the percent that's being flooded, directly across from that will be the amount that it is being flooded. I don't know how much it is usually being flooded, I don't know how much it's being flooded to, so I'm looking for the part again. And the depth is the original amount, so I'm going to put 25 hundredths. So I cross multiply again. So I'm going to have 100 times n equals 4,800 times 25 hundredths. Again, you are allowed to use a calculator, so I will get 1,200. Divide both sides by 100. And I will get 12, and it's 12 inches. So really, the cranberry bog gets flooded to 12 a foot, because 4,800 is the same thing as 48 times the amount. So if we were to take a quarter inch and multiply it by 48, we would also get 12. Number 6, which is really on this page here, says 96 is what percent of 12? This is just one of the simple is and of questions, and I know that we had some trouble with these in our previous topics, so just be careful here. It is divided by of, or if you're using y equals mx, the y is your is, the x is your of. So what percent is what I'm looking for, so I will put my n divided by 100 this time. The 96 is attached to the is, so I will put 96 in the numerator, and the 12 is attached to the of. Again, since 96 is larger than the denominator of 12, to keep this proportional, I know that n has to be larger than 100. So we cross multiply, I could do 12 times x equals to 9,600. Divide both sides by 12, and I will get 800. And because I have already put the n divided by 100 and incorporated that into my proportion, my answer is 800%. I don't have to convert it. Number 7 is saying to classify each of these as true or false, and then correct any false statements. So we will do number 1 together, or part A together, excuse me. It says a pet grasshopper jumped 6% higher than his old jump record. His new record is 106% of his old record. So I'm going to have here, I'm going to write that 100% represents his old record. So if he jumped 45 feet, then the record is 45, and in order to beat that record, he has to go more than 100%. So he said that he went 6% higher, so 100% plus 6% is going to give me 106%. Since they both have a percent sign after them, they're like terms, and I can add them together. So go ahead and take a look at B and C. Okay, so for B and C, I said both of them were false. I decided that the ant weighs 3 milligrams as the whole, and then he picks up a leaf, which is the part, and the ant is carrying, it says 110% of its weight. So because it says of its weight, that's how I also know that that is the ant's weight is the whole. So since 30 is 10 times 3, so that's actually 1,000%, not 110%. And then for C, the wingspan of a monarch butterfly is 2 5/10% greater than the wingspan of the queen butterfly. So really, I'm showing over here with my number sentence. So the correct answer, instead of 125%, should be 102 5/10%. Number 8 says that an artist is making a wall mural from a small sketch. He enlarges the 4.5-inch wide sketch to 900% of the original size to create the final mural. Which statements is or are true? Is the mural between 36 and 45 inches wide? Is the final width of the mural 4 5/10 times 900? Or is the final width of the mural is 9 times the width of the sketch? Well, I know already that 900% technically means 9 times. So since 900% is 9 times, I know that that one is going to be true. The work for one I'm going to do right down here. I need to figure out that if the mural is 4.5 inches wide, that is the original. The original mural is 4.5 inches. Then the new one that he's going to be making, I don't know that amount, but I know that it's 900% the original size. So I put 900 divided by 100, and I go through and I calculate this out. And I will get 40 5/10. So that number is between 36 and 45 inches wide, so I know that that one is also true. And then when it goes on to say that the final width of the mural is 4.5 times 900, that doesn't make sense there, that the final width of the mural, I don't do 4.5 times the 900 because the 900 is technically 900%, so this is inaccurate here. So the only choices are 1 and 3. Okay? If you guys have any questions, please be sure to ask me tomorrow. Have a great night.